Hello, good morning, happy Monday, February 28th. Here we are. I hope that everybody's had a really good weekend and your week is starting off lovely, awesome, amazing. Lynette, always super lovely to see you. And Marwin, welcome to the room. So, today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. And this has kind of been forgiveness is one of those things that's a lot of times kind of hard to swallow sometimes. It's hard to forgive somebody sometimes, depending on what the situation is. But even more importantly, it's really hard for us to get to that place where we're able to forgive ourselves. So today we're going to be talking about those two aspects. We're going to talk about forgiving ourselves, and we're going to talk about forgiving others. Before I get into that, I hope everybody is really taking some time to really focus on some self care, self love, self understanding. You know, this has kind of been a hot topic lately, and we've been kind of coming to a place where we live life, don't we? We live under the stresses and the challenges and the difficulties, but we also live in the happiness and the goals and all of the good stuff. But there's got to be that good balance that's going on with inside of us. And that good balance happens whenever we can really get to that place of defining what our relationship is with ourselves. So I've really been focused on that a lot, of trying to help people really take that breath. Take a pause. Don't don't make decisions based on anybody else around you. Make it based on you and your heart and where you are and where you rest. Because we're all different. We all have our own past. We all have our own history. We all have our own journey. And nobody else can decide any of that for you. And forgiveness plays a lot into that because nobody else can make you forgive. Forgiveness is a personal choice on both ends. It's a personal choice to forgive yourself, it's a personal choice to forgive somebody else. And sometimes forgiveness makes people feel like, well, if I forgive, I'm forgiving all of it. I'm forgiving what happened. I'm forgiving that, I'm taking a weaker stance. And it's really quite the opposite. Forgiveness shows strength, maturity, and resolve. Forgiveness brings us around to where we're able to really embrace our own strengths. And it also helps us build and reinforce our own integrity and our own vision for how do we overcome situations, not only that we cause sometimes, but that others may cause with us. So let's dive in here. Let's explore two areas of forgiveness: forgiveness for any suffering we have caused ourselves, and forgiveness of others who've caused us suffering. Start by reflecting on a time that you've let yourself down, maybe. Recalling specific circumstances in which you feel unforgiving towards yourself. And now spend a few moments where, when you focus on when you were unable to accept or forgive yourself for something that happened in the past. Now, it could be small or it could be significant. At some point, each of us let ourselves down. Trust that whatever comes to mind is perfect to focus on. I mean, it could be a failure, a disappointment, a risk that you didn't take, anything that you can't let go of. And then settle your mind on one scenario and try to let yourself get close in on that experience and realize what it felt like at that time. Consider the ways that you're angry or unforgiving of yourself. Try and sense or feel what about this moment feels unforgivable. When you allow yourself to kind of feel into the fear or the pain or confusion that motivated that action, try and understand your emotional state at that exact time. Now attempt to open to some empathy of this earlier version of you. Show some compassion of why you made that choice or took that action. Understanding it was likely one you felt you had to make at that particular time, or at least the best option in that moment. Embracing self-compassion can be one of the most healing and grounding things that we can do for ourselves. And many times, these moments can cause us to build walls and barriers. These walls that we hold against ourselves can be damaging. And it can damage us more than that actual event did. So let's imagine now how it would feel to stop beating yourself up for whatever occurred. Imagine letting yourself off the hook, to release yourself of blame with the freedom of finally offering yourself forgiveness. And then just let the past be the past and appreciate all you've learned since that time. Let yourself move forward, free of regret. And in order to do that, we have to call on self-compassion for the you who made that choice, the you who is deserving of forgiveness. And then you have to release whatever amount of blame is possible, and then you open yourself up to self-forgiveness. Remember that forgiveness is a process. It happens in stages, and it can take time. And if you feel unable to offer yourself forgiveness in this moment, see if you can simply offer yourself patience with the intention to forgive when it's possible. Forgiveness can't happen usually overnight. It can't happen at the flip of a switch. But if we allow ourselves the permission to go through the process of allowing ourselves to get to that place of being able to have that self-compassion, being able to have that forgiveness, then that's still progress forward. And we have to remember, 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still progress. Now let's look for a moment at forgiving others. We move on to contemplating a time that you felt hurt by somebody else. It could be a time you felt betrayed, misunderstood, rejected, or even lied to, deceived. And perhaps it's a time when someone let you down, or a time you didn't feel appreciated or respected. Now bring that event to focus and start with something small. Start with something small. And think about that person and embrace the feelings you had in that moment rather than the details. That's really hard sometimes for us to do because we start wanting to get so wrapped into the details of that situation that we really do lose sight of the feelings that were caused due to those. So see if it's possible to connect with what's beneath that hurt. Simply take in the feeling of that experience. Now reflect on any growth that you experienced as a result of what happened. Is there anything that you learned about yourself? Or perhaps about your needs or boundaries? I mean, many times we have growth from the moments, but get caught up in the wrong aspects, and then we can miss it entirely. About when we try to later reflect on it, we miss the scope about, I actually grew from this, and struggles create that for us. Now, while this might be difficult, see if there's the slightest hope of finding compassion for the person that did this to you. Knowing that we are all human, we all make mistakes. We all make poor choices from time to time, and we lack foresight. See if you can find the smallest amount of understanding of why this person may have acted in this hurtful way. Try and see past the exterior into the hurt or fear or confusion that might have been driving that person in that particular moment. Now, you may not be able to see the other side. And if it's not in you to release anger, pain, or resentment in this moment, that's okay. Accept that forgiveness is not something that can be forced. And sometimes it can feel impossible to forgive when the pain goes so deep. It requires great strength because it's far braver to give up the need to prove a point or right or wrong than it is to simply let go. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing or condoning an action that's been taken. What it means is you're finally able to move on. That is a self care, self preservation aspect. You're finally able to heal. And it releases anger, resentment, and breaks the chain to the past. And that, my friend, creates closure and freedom. That's a really, really difficult place sometimes for people to get to because people adopt that mentality. Well, if I'm forgiving this person for what they did to me, like I'm mad. I am mad. I am hurt. I'm broken down. This person did this to me and I never got resolution for it. So I'm holding on to it now. I'm holding on to that feeling. I'm holding on to that anger. I'm holding on to that place. And what that is I am holding on to the prison that I am putting my own life and emotions into because of this thing that I am not letting myself have some self-care and self-compassion and realize that it might be a situation you will never, ever, ever get an apology for it. You will never, ever get what you're after. Therefore, that forgiveness and acceptance has to come from you. And you're doing that for yourself because if you don't, then you're dragging along the dead horse. So you have to ask yourself, am I ready to let go? And in that moment, you have to see if you can soften your heart and free yourself of the pain that you're holding on to. And even if you're not ready to forgive just yet, perhaps see if you can simply be open to the idea of future forgiveness. Give yourself permission to aim for this in the future, knowing you can always come back and try this process again, seeing where you're stuck, seeing where you're ready to let go. And whenever you just do that, you can take that and break that down into small pieces, break it down into little baby steps. And that's okay because at least, again, you're making some progress. You know, allow this to be kind of an organic process. Look, there is zero benefit to pressuring yourself to feel something that you're just simply not ready to experience. I personally, I have been, I've had situations happen that I was hurt, I was angry, it just was eating me up. But I had to make a choice. Am I going to give in to that poisonous, toxic after effect, or am I going to take care of myself? And that's a really hard place because we want people to be accountable for what they've done to us. When we feel pain from somebody else's actions, it is it is the furthest point usually from people's mind to be like, hey, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you. Because we're all human and we all make bad choices sometimes. We all make mistakes. We are all flawed. We all have we all have that moment. But it's hard when you're hurt and you're angry and you're upset and you're mad and you're sad to turn around and say, hey, I forgive you. I forgive you. Now, do I forgive what you did? No, it hurt me. But I forgive you and understand that you made a mistake or you did whatever. But you just got to remember, if you feel that you're not ready to let go of your hurt, ask yourself this. Would I rather have this feeling or would I rather be free? Do I want to hold on to that weight, or do I want to lighten my load? And the other most important thing is forgiveness isn't something you do for the person who wronged you. It's something you do for yourself. And let's face it, we all deserve peace and freedom. All of us. Nobody wants to live under this a heavy blanket of all the wrongs, all the infractions, all the bad things, all the who wants to live under that blanket and drag that along? We don't want to, and you don't have to, because getting to this place is a choice. But you can take your time doing it. You don't have to do it overnight. Keisha, always good to see you, love. And listen, the stage is open. If anybody would like to come up and share some thoughts or comments on this topic, been talking today on forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others. Anytime, any of my rooms are always an open forum, so you guys are always welcome to come up anytime that you want to interject or share something. My name is Dr. Trinity Michaels. If you haven't hit my profile, please do. You can go and hit my website at PsychCandy.org, and all the articles I share, I'll publish on my website first. So you guys are always able to go and look there, and I always appreciate your support and coming in here for these rooms. PsychCandy, typically I try to get in here at 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, and a lot of times lately anyway, I've been doing some weekend shows. So definitely I appreciate your guys' support and follows, and definitely following you guys back. And so if nobody's going to jump up here, I'm probably going to wind this down. I hope you're able to take some food from this, take some good stuff, and I hope your week is starting off absolutely lovely. So wishing everybody just a lighter load, much love and light, and I hope that you have a very blessed week. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers.